Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to watch my Q1 Guardrails presentation. I know this is a bit of an unusual way to present. I feel like I finally understand why technicians are so uncomfortable doing video MPIs, but I do appreciate the flexibility in allowing me to still have the opportunity to present, even though I'm going to be in Korea by the time you're watching this. But anyway, with that, let's just jump right into it. So, I am going to be going over each of the region's priorities and talking about some wins and efforts I've put into assisting the region in achieving these 2023 priorities and goals. First up is Build Your Bench. Courtney and I did a challenge coin presentation for Kirsten Emerson at St. Charles. We had a great group of region support turnout as well. This is a really special way to recognize someone like Kristen with over 10 years of experience at St. Charles and just honestly an overall delightful person to know and work with. I know I personally appreciate the region for giving as much attention and effort towards the challenge coin as it deserves, because it really is a special way just to recognize dealership people for going above and beyond in their own way. I also wanted to take a moment to update you all on Naperville North Girls Automotive event that we are doing with the Crew Partnership to develop some sort of event to actually bring them to the Chicago region. The idea and purpose of the event is to expose young women to the automotive industry as our small way of combating the underrepresentation of women. So, this is obviously a difficult job to describe to people, especially high schoolers. So, we believe that bringing them here to show them firsthand what we do and why we do it is probably the most effective way of creating excitement around the industry. We have a couple of engagement activities in mind that we've been brainstorming. We want to do a tour facility. And we want to play Kahoot and quiz them on our roles, do some sort of vehicle walk around, and have them, playing inside of a Supra, not driving it, of course. But Regan and Javi also had some fun technical activities that we wanted to get them involved in. So more to come on this. The date did get pushed back from April to, I believe, May's, but it is coming together and it's very exciting. So, on to Smart Path utilization. It's awesome that as a DSPM, we now have more to contribute to this portion of the guardrails now that the Smart Path service has finally arrived. As you know, St. Charles rolled out Smart Path service several months ago and continues to do regular calls with TMNA and CDK to provide feedback and suggestions and often grievances around the tool, but that's to be expected being a pilot dealer. But overall, it's working really well, and we are learning a lot from this pilot, which makes me even more confident that by the time Poly launches with Dealer FX in May, we'll see a much smoother transition, especially since Poly plans on integrating Dealer FX prior to the official rollout of SmartPath. The Poly team is super eager to get started on this, and so am I. So, all right, let's move into the customer first profit opportunities. So, first, I just wanted to give you a district update on what's going on with PPM progress for District B. As you can see, the district as a whole is a very strong performer for PPM. The number of contracts sold continues to grow month to month, and it has an average, I believe, an average of 18% growth month to month over the past 6 months. And the only reason why I know that is because I calculated it to do my PPM forecast for the sell to the trail incentive. But we continue to make headway as a district team as we have more individual conversations with selected focus stores. So that actually leads me to my next slide, where I want to focus on PPM growth at Continental specifically. We had initial PPM conversations with Continental back in November, and we've had a slow start with them in terms of selling it and since. But however, as of this past January, they have been making large strides towards selling Toyota Service Care. And although they're not selling Toyota Care Plus at this time, I believe they have the potential to sell as many contracts as a Poly or an Elgin and be a PPM competitor in the district and the region. So far this year, Continental has sold 55 Toyota Service Care contracts, which is actually 90% of the sales they made last year as a whole. So they got that done in just 2.5 months, which is awesome. The chart on the left shows the potential dollars earned off those 55 contracts. So according to 2022's data from TFS, over the lifetime of the contract, Toyota Service Care has an average of $94 of net profit per contract sold. So with that data in mind, those 55 contracts that Continental sold this quarter produced approximately $5,000 from those 55 VINs just for redeeming their Toyota Service Cares. So that's pretty awesome. And then not to mention, the retention and loyalty that they're also building from that. Another little shout out I wanted to give was to Lombard. Lombard's performance in particular is important to me because they're one of our only, or they actually are our only store in the bottom 10 for TLE. They've been working really hard to turn that number. So as you can see, they've already sold 90% of last year's PPM sales in just the first quarter of 2023 as well, which is awesome. Also, Lombard has finally started selling Toyota Service Care after several conversations around the ease of selling Toyota Service Care in comparison to Toyota Care Plus. So it's great to see them take that recommendation. Similarly to the last slide, I also calculated the potential PPM sales revenue based on their contracts sold, multiplied by the region's average net profit per Toyota Care Plus contract sold, which is actually $424 per Toyota Care Plus contract. The 92 contracts they've sold so far this quarter can potentially generate about $26,000 of revenue over the next 2 years for those VINs, plus, of course, the retention piece as well. So this is really strong, and it's just really cool to be able to see that data and have that data from TFS as well. But I do want to close out the PPM portion of this presentation by talking about the PPM ILT. I mentioned in my last guardrails, but as a refresher, this is designed to be a DSPM-led virtual ILT training intended for GMs, service managers, ASMs, and BDC reps. So the idea came to be because myself and the other DSPMs have been doing individual dealership trainings on PPM. But as we know, there's a lot of dealership turnover, and we just simply don't have the time to keep going back out and training the dealers every month. So the objectives of this TLE is to cast a wider net and create something more efficient without losing effectiveness to training dealers on PPM. This is also a great long-term solution to dealer education because we have the ability to record the training and send it out to the dealers when they have new associates on board. This project has been communicated to all the DSPMs and TFS as well, which is awesome. Current is still selecting the ASMs that are going to be available to present, but I have confirmed that Bob Pettinger can and would present on each of the 6 sessions, which is awesome. I sent you all the PowerPoint presentation for this ILT as well if you're curious as to what it looks like and what we're going to be covering in it. So let's move on to Service Connect. Here's an update on how the district is performing as of January. All the Service Connect data runs 2 months behind, similar to TLE, and gives the dealers the time to bring the customers back in for the alerts that they generate. So when it comes to managing Service Connect alerts, I often make the recommendation to prioritize their maintenance alerts. Vehicles generate all kinds of alerts all the time. A lot of them aren't necessarily eligible to generate an RO. So a frequent example that I use is a vehicle going through a car wash can trigger all kinds of alerts, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the vehicle should come into a dealership. So that being said, maintenance alerts are vehicles communicating that they are due for service and they should absolutely be coming in and generating an RO. So in this, I use Schaumburg as an example. So seeing Schaumburg is in first place in the district in terms of total RO conversion rate, they still have an opportunity if they converted 100% of their maintenance alerts. It would increase their total RO conversion rate by 12%. So I'm continuing to make it a priority to paint that picture to the dealers. Which is kind of how this was born. The Service Connect Performance Report. I also attached it to the email I sent over to you guys as well, so you can take a look at it in detail. But the purpose of this report is to draw attention to Service Connect by utilizing 2 key things to grab a dealer's attention: competition and money. I think that was one of the first things I learned as a DSPM to incentivize dealers to do pretty much anything. But this report shows not only the dealership's ranking based on the total RO conversion rate of their Service Connect alerts, but it also shows their maintenance RO conversion rate and the percent of alerts that are for maintenance specifically, the dollars missed based on 80% of total RO conversion rate, and the percent of action taken on Service Connect alerts in TIS. So, for example, I believe on the bottom of this report, Mills is in last place for a dealership's effectiveness in taking Service Connect alerts. So I think their total RO conversion rate is about 25%. However, they take 100% action on all their alerts. So what that's telling me is that they're just moving their alerts from open to closed and not actually contacting the customers. In the 2 short months I've rolled this report out to the dealers, Naperville has already taken action by implementing a tiered spiff program for their BDC reps that incentivizes them to convert these Service Connect alerts into ROs. So their BDC reps have the opportunity to earn up to $500 a month if their individual RO conversion rate is 90%. So once I see how that spiff progresses and kind of how that plays out, this could be a really great recommendation to my other stores as well to make progress on their total RO conversion rate. So next, I wanted to go into a project that Courtney and I have been working on together regarding the creation of a service marketing cadence. This idea came from having repeated conversations around targeting the active at-risk list. We kept getting questions around how often they should pull it and what kind of offers to make to these customers to bring them back in, what's sustainable, what's not, and what doesn't require them to basically give the house away. So with that, we created the service marketing cadence to assist the dealers on when to contact certain groups of customers and how to effectively market to them in a sustainable way. I also attached the full document of this project in the email I sent you all as well, so you can see it in its entirety. But as you can see on the left, we have a daily, monthly, and bi-monthly schedule on when the dealer should be contacting certain groups and what they should be calling them about or marketing to them for. So this document also has directions on how to pull a targeted active at-risk list that allows the dealers to see basically exactly when a customer is going to be falling off from active to inactive status. And then from there, we created a schedule on offers that the dealers should make to those customers, progressively getting more and more aggressive as the customer approaches that 12-month mark of becoming inactive. So our plan is to select a pilot dealer to roll this out to and follow the schedule for about 3 months and allow us to track the effectiveness in terms of redemption rates and managing their TLE score. So we were thinking about rolling it out to Oak Brook, but more to come on that. So then finally, I wanted to touch on Courtney and I's TLE deep dive with Romeoville and Lombard Toyota. So Romeoville and Lombard are frankly two of our worst performing stores with retention, with Lombard ranking in the bottom 10 and Romeoville floating right around the cusp of a 97 out of 112 rankings. So as a result of our deep dive at Romeoville, we discovered that they were also having issues with dealer tracks similar to Elgin from last quarter, if you guys can remember, where their ROs aren't being properly accounted for in national service history. Courtney and I did a second visit to Romeoville to assist them with a VIN investigation where we found 48 VINs that weren't properly tracked in national service history, which was hurting their TLE score. With the VINs appropriately accounted for, their TLE score should also be seeing a bump, not only from that, but also from them getting negatively impacted by the original TLE enhancement, where they dropped over a percentage in TLE. However, with the recent update to that enhancement, their score should receive that percentage back. So with both their bumps to that score, their predicted TLE growth is approximately 2.5%, which would put them at 96.8% for TLE overall, which is a much more comfortable spot to be in. So that was kind of an awesome win, an honestly unexpected win at Romeoville, but we're glad to have that ironed out. We also did the same deep dive at Lombard and received a lot of engagement from Tammy and Mark, the general manager and their service manager, in regards to wanting to take action on this number. Immediately, they began turning their percent action taken on Service Connect alerts from 30 to 100%, which over time will be reflected in their total RO conversion rate. They also started selling Toyota Service Care, as I mentioned previously, which is awesome to see. They also really took to our recommendation around targeting active at-risk customers and could also be a great potential store to roll out the service outreach schedule too. So we're going to look into that as well. But Lombard has been trending positively in CLEE for the past several months, and we're confident with these new focuses that they will only continue to improve. So with that, that wraps up my Q1 presentation. I'm missing my partner right now, but I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening, and really, again, appreciate the flexibility and your willingness to hear my dealer's progress as well as my own in this district. But I'm excited to see you all in Arizona, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.